Do I even gotta say it? All right, I'll do it one more time. A bingo! Two teams of Rudies are about to race through the streets of Tokyo-To to complete their bingo board objectives. For every soul and character they unlock, they'll receive a point. If a team manages to cover an area in graffiti, they'll get a whopping 3 points. But they better watch their backs, because it's first come, first serve around these parts. Only one team can claim each square, and we don't hand out no consolation prizes for second place losers. Ha 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 ha! If a team can work together and mark 5 squares in a row, column, or a diagonal, they'll secure a bingo and be rewarded with a 2-point bonus. Ooh! Oh, and one final thing. Don't forget, this game is all about working together with your teammate. So any tape pickups, stolen locks, and graffiti completions will be synced between team members. Don't try to solo it alone, you jackass. All right, let's hit this joint. It's time for another round of Jet Set Radio Bingo!
Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting match of Jet Set Radio Future Bingo Season 8. Today we have the return of a team we haven't seen in a bit, and they're going up against one of the most chaotic teams of the season. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Our first team today have reached the mainframe to be here today and are ready to hack the planet. It's the yellow team, 7th Ace and B from 0xSWARM. And going up against them today is Navy, Shovelclaws, Kevin. Sorry, I had to be quick before they got distracted. It's Generation ZZZ. And in the commentary box today we have the duo that found an old computer and asked how does it work. It's Dynamite and Laurie D. Bunnykins.
Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back to this one game we call Jet Set Radio Future, and this horrid abomination of a game mode we've created for it. It's Jet Set Radio Future Bingo. This is a really exciting match. We have a team that seems pretty favored to make a good run in this season, but has had a struggling start so far, versus a team that has already gone through what is probably its hardest matches, and we have to see how they rise from there. My name is Laurie. I am here with Dynamite. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm Dynamite. I'm like if Bucky's did JSRF bingo comms. I'm really excited to be here today.
I'm like if Wawa did JSRF bingo comms.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is it's a goated matchup today. I mean, obviously the teams that we're watching fumble around in whatever areas they're in, but also, you know, the commentaries can be pretty good, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 2 players. For those who are unaware, in between Season 7 and 8, we ran a 1v1 mini tournament, and the 2 teams here are each representing one of the finalists from that 1v1 tournament. So, like, really high echelon bingo players there, with teammates who are like far from inexperienced. Like even B, who is new to this season, has a fair bit of history with the game as a whole and has picked it up really fast.
Oh yeah, totally. And I think even Kevin, as much as we all like to rag on him, we as in every community member ever who's ever in the game,
Yeah.
he's still really good. He still has a lot of knowledge. He still is able to execute in those like times of need. Like the last time I was on commentary, like game 2 Kevin, I think is as good as like a shovel clause or as like a 7 days on a bad day. So like
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a really interesting match.
Speaking of game 2, let's get into this board for game 1. Immediately, this column 3 sticks out to me. Darkside is not very good, but Sky Dino has 4 points, and 3 of them are on the same column, along with a lot of Shibuya squares, which seems to be a predominantly good region on this board.
Yeah, I think it's not a horrible play to send someone to Darkside immediately just because it is committal, but if you're looking at that board position, it's really, really good because you can clear out, like Rory said, the center 3 on that column 3, which puts you in a really, really good spot on top of if you want to commit to 9-9 or like even just pre-spraying it and getting out to try and secure points at other places and finishing that up later. It's really, really good start. But the issue is you're so far out of the way, that's the thing that makes it really committal, right?
Yeah, and I think we see the best case scenario from a team going to Darkside, with Generation Z sending Kevin to the Sky Dino completely alone. I think the biggest scare about this Sky Dino is going to it and then hardly winning it. So it's really good for Kevin to just be able to nail these squares, especially those first 3 squares on the column that are all defaults. It could be really bad if like that doesn't go evenly. The big problem is that Kevin will be very far out of the way here. In terms of like where all the other squares on the map are, but Claus is a very smart player, and I don't think he would send Kevin to Sky Dino just to have to go all the way back. Part of me thinks that we maybe could see 99th Graffiti as a premier graffiti option from Generation ZZZ, just to capitalize on, just to like minimize Kevin's distance where he's not doing very much.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the board just like in more detail with like where people are going, and I do like Swarm's positioning here just because having someone in Kogane, even if it doesn't have that many points, I don't think it's a very bad play. I think it's basically the same thing that Claus is doing with Kevin on the ZZZ side. It's just setting up for the future, like potential like column 5, I know how to count, and that bottom left diagonal.
Yeah.
It's really committal, and I mean, Kev's and Sky Dino, so they probably have already like kissed that goodbye. But I mean, if they had sent Kev anywhere else, I think it would have been, like a real big contender.
Yeah. And I'm kind of a little worried right now. Right now we have our first graffiti of the game being worked on by 7th Ace here in Shibuya Terminal. But we have Claus stepping into RDH for points 40k, going to be going back to Garage, so probably back to Shibuya. And this is... the thing I'm worried about is that, and 7th Ace might be picking up onto this a little bit, is that with Claus going to Kogane, and not working on the Shibuya spray, I think a really good play here would have been to try and take some of these souls out of the Shibuya so that the region isn't as populous for 7th Ace to just run around and do as she pleases. But she got a good amount of spray progress done and like still has the lead to just about anything here. And like Claus is going to start this graffiti while Ace is going into Chuo to get points, and there's a chance that Ace will be able to like get this point and come back and still have the graffiti lead because of how much she sprayed beforehand.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention, even without that center square that Kevin just got, even though the points were literally like 1 off, right? It was now it's 6 to 7, so it's still 1 off. I do want to mention that CCC has a lot better like board positioning, which I think is like just a sleeper important thing, because if they're able to snowball this momentum into getting like a line if they need to later on, that could be really, really valuable.
Yeah.
Most of the line threats have been blocked off, but I mean, Ace really needs to finish Shibuya spray, just because if like she's worried at all about that, like remotely, it's gonna come into play later for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, we see here, I think at this point, Claus is starting to get ahead of where Ace was in the route. Ace taking the time to go for both tricks and points in Shuo. And, like, not bad squares, all things considered, especially if you're getting the tape, getting both of them isn't bad. But it definitely puts her suddenly now on the back foot for this graffiti, which is especially tricky. It looks like, after getting Sewer's Rail Floor 1-2, B is back into bottom point to spray that, as Kevin is finally back to Garage after his trip to Dark Side and heading deep into Kogane.
That was not a trip, dog. That was a vacation.
Well, yes.
He took some PTO to get those 4 points. I am curious to see how the late game kind of shakes out for this game, just because assuming that I'm not even sure that this is gonna happen, but assuming Claus gets Shibuya and B gets bottom point, there's still 2 other graffitis on the board, so I wonder how that's gonna work out in like the brain of their strategizers, just because I know how these players play and I'm like a little concerned, but I think it's gonna be interesting nonetheless.
To commit for it, which is oh.
Is your connection better? Are you back?
My 3000 ping blast, go.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, like, it's pretty nice to have that, like, graffiti done for Generation ZZZ, putting them in the lead as like 7 Days has to go to Hikage to stop this column 3. Unfortunately, what you would really want to do in this position is really capitalize on picking up any extra points you can. And unfortunately, with Claus heading into, or with Kevin heading into, like, that bottom point and committing to it as B is, like, notably ahead, it suddenly becomes an unfortunate situation where it could be very likely that just, like, this time from Kevin is going to be wasted, and that's going to waste the lead that Shibuya Graffiti gave them. It does look like Claus is heading into Kibo, the, like, next best value graffiti, especially due to that row 1 on the side of Hex Swarm. But I honestly think Hex Swarm is just gonna let them have it, especially if B wins this bottom point, which she's still on pace to do, despite Kevin making a pretty good effort here. Like, just not committing Kibo will still be all Hex Swarm needs to, like, take the game.
Yeah, I think it wasn't necessarily a bad play to send Kevin to the bottom point, but I'm, like, trying to think about the last time B must have marked something, so I wonder if it was just like a coin flip on their part, or how they decided Kevin just go in bottom point. And I mean, B just got Air 4, so I mean, if I'm Kevin, low-key I'm leaving right now, so I don't really know what's going on, but
I'm not completely sure, but the spray counts here are pretty even. I'm starting to wonder where B's, like, full route familiarity is, if this is causing problems right now, because, like, the spray count, it's even right now.
Yeah, it's 1-to-1 even, so I wonder if they're baking on that, or, like, it is really close. This time I remembered I have a notepad document open. I'm, like, making notes of stuff I'm going to ask post-game. So this is definitely going on the list.
Yeah, and we even see Claus jumping into bottom point
to
try and save the bottom point. Looks like was in Kibo to start, but is now actually working on cleaning up this bottom point. And where's the last one? It's the one on the wall here from Kevin, but he was too slow to make sure to find it, and that's gonna be the square for
Wow, that is
0xSWARM. Yeah, B, I was saying I was worried a little bit, but managed to clean up the route fast enough to, like, punish Kevin there. And yeah, no, like I said, especially with 7th Ace not committing to that Kibo that, like, Generation ZZZ is going to have to, this is looking fairly finalized. Like, they have better map position right now and way less they need to do to win the game. So
yeah, I wonder if there's a universe where Kevin commits a little bit less, and they're able to kind of snowball the, like, trading graffiti to just being even. And because ZZZ had better board positioning at the very beginning, being able to do a lot more stuff with that, because having that, like, 4 out of 5 on column 3 could have done a lot.
5, I didn't even notice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that like column 3 did a lot, because then you just know for sure that Ace is gonna be going to hit Kage, right? And then you could kind of play with that information, just because usually Bingo's the game about, like, limited information and just kind of doing a lot of guesswork. But the less guesswork that you're able to do makes it a lot more consistent for, like, your play, right? So I wonder if there's a universe where that could have been stopped, but, like, the late game there really just, like, snowballed. Absolutely, Ace knew the win con and, like, took advantage of it.
I also went ahead and checked the number on our bingo site. 3.6 second snipe from B on Generation ZZZ in that bottom point graffiti square.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is quite a race to have in game 1 here. And it looks like0xSWARM is already setting up, getting to character select for that game 2, while Gen Z taking their time. Kevin might be getting a little bit of a be nice to Kev, that's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, he might be getting a kebab right now. you gotta, especially after a 3-second snipe in a graffiti race. I mean,
yeah,
you gotta take
that's
a second to reset the mental and then go back in as good as you can, right?
Yeah, of course. I think, and I mean,
Kevin 2 beers mode. Okay, you know what? I stand corrected. Two beers and a kebab. Okay.
oh yeah.
That could fix me.
But yeah, we have game 2 Kev coming up. We mentioned this in the match that my team played against Kev. Scary.
Yeah, genuinely, like, a playoff contender, like, in a 1v1 tournament. Like,
yeah.
Game 2.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see, like, what happens. I know that Claus is particularly good with, like, the mid-set adaptation, so...
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited to see how they adapt.
Before we look at the board, we do have B quickly AFK, so I do want to actually mention this standing for those just coming in or who need a reminder. So these two are both currently 0 and 2 in their, like, sets in the season so far, but the two teams they have faced are considered 2 of the strongest teams in the season, and these two are still, like, massive playoff contenders. It's very likely that these two teams, like, don't lose again if they play well for the rest of the round robin portion of the season.
Well,
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, of course. So, like, this is a really big match because this could actually have massive playoff ramification. One of them, like, scoring their first win over the other. And I think having the security of that game 1 win is really nice. Let's hope that 0xSWARM does not get too comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mentioned before that it, like, snowballed really hard. But, I mean, that was really close until basically Ace locked in, and Claus, like, made a 1, and I do mean just 1 shot by mistake.
Yeah.
So.
And now we're into game 2 here. Looking at the board, we have another area with 3 squares in 1 bingo line in Chuo
Just
Street.
to call that out, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
I don't think there's any, like, super easy lines. I'm looking at, like, the bottom left diagonal. That seems like it can be something, but it'd be like a end game, like, oh, I didn't see that coming type of situation. So, I mean, I totally anticipate that, like, any of the
Yeah.
top colors here can like see something like that earlier mid game and say, oh, we should like send someone here. Like, oh, if you're here, make sure you like get this square just to like reduce that risk.
Yeah, this is a very, very balanced board, and usually you say that because all the regions are balanced, but then one of them stands out. But here, I would say every area has some pretty fast stuff to go for. Like, I think we had a shout to column 4 in the chat, and yeah, that is some really fast squares for defaults. But like, other than that, I think every area is kind of fast, and I think we're going to see a lot of differences as we actually see our top and bottom screens sync up. Claus and Ace into Benton, and Kevin and B into Shibuya. We'll see who wins what.
Yeah, I'm not super surprised that I was going Kogane, but I mean, I think you can snowball a lot of momentum into that, like especially if you know late game, like if you set up some bait, like for example, Highway Zero here, I don't think is like super great. If you leave Highway Zero and someone is kind of forced to go and get that, then you can kind of pivot to going into Kogane and then like pre-spraying RDH, getting a lot of fast points, maybe even co-oping it in the future. It can, there's a lot that can go on here, and I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, and we see, B got the bus jump, but then fell off after, and then went straight Chuo. So Kevin's going to be able to pick up Shibuya pretty heavily, and is about to see something pretty interesting. Now, I might really like what's about to happen here, but I'm also really worried. So B picks up right canal. If you're attentive, you might realize, hey, that was kind of fast. B doesn't have the tape right now, and if she's all the way in right canal, I'm ahead to it. Kevin, however, is going to lead. The reason I like this is because of that top left, bottom right. Although in theory that Chuo tape is really good for points, being behind to try and stop that diagonal could be really, really bad for Generation Z. And in fact, we have 7th Ace heading to Kogane, but Kevin turning around to go to Chuo. Grind and Special are on the board. 2 souls take a little bit to get, but are very close to each other. And with Kevin on the advantage, he's probably going to be able to stop this bingo. The only problem is, like, the time it takes to stop this bingo might be a little much, as we see our first player into the deeper side of Kogane with 7 Ace here.
Yeah, I am absorbing all of the information in my brain. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I think it's a little bit scary to go into Chuo right now after Kev. I mean, obviously, we're commentators, you can see all the perspectives that are going on. In my brain, I'm saying this with, like, foresight and hindsight at the same time. I would see that those haven't been gotten. I would kind of try and, especially if I'm close, I would just go back. Honestly, I'd like try and secure those. I'd try and make sure that we can have a bit better port control. Like, the points are 3 to 4, but it is like having all of your points in one line is not the best port control, I'll say.
Yeah, especially
but
with
getting
the diagonal
Chuo there, getting either Grind or Tricks and Chuo really just mitigates a lot more threats.
Yeah, and as we see B jump off the crane to commit to going for Grind 21st, we see Kevin mark Grind, which means both of them are kind of at a reset for Special. It looks like B maybe going a little bit scarier with her unlock method, but a little bit faster as well, especially with Kev grabbing that default. So we'll see B's soul unlock, we'll see Kev's soul unlock, but like not gonna get that square, which, I mean, you did what you needed to do. You blocked the diagonal. That's good.
Yeah.
But you really would have loved wasting B's time to this extent. Although you do now know where he is, or you do not know where she is, sorry. And that might make Graffiti more comfortable to, like, start. Like, you get information out of this even if you don't get the point, and that might not actually be a bad thing.
I will also mention, this is going to be a bit down the line, but column 2 and column 5 from Swarm are both looking like they're not like looking entirely cooked yet, but they're
both,
you know, they're on the grill. They're getting a little sizzle,
especially as we see B back into Chuo, probably going to get those tape souls. But I wonder if there's an area that blocks both of those columns that Generation ZZZ has really good entry to right now. I would be very surprised if this is not a co-op RDH graffiti from them.
I feel so smart. I did mention like using it as bait and pivoting at a good time. So I feel so smart that I was right on that.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think this is a great play from them. Again,
Yeah,
like,
this is like,
I think
I don't want to say the best play, but it is like objectively a correct play.
it is a very good play, especially with what I said about B. Like, B, unfortunately, like, got a point in that Hokage when you probably, like, really wanted to not have that happen. But as a result, you now know that, like, you now know that the graffiti is a lot safer than you might think it is if you didn't do that. And really interesting play here. Ace is actually going to win top of station right under Claus's nose. However, I think it's fairly safe to assume that, like, ZZZ wants to co-op this. So, Ace is not going to try and challenge that, but in response, Claus is going to follow and is going to be first into bottom point. And, like, is probably going to take points away from Ace. Ace thinks she's, like, mitigating the damage of, like, not committing to this graffiti. Claus is going to stop that if it executes well, and that's really good positioning here. It sets up Gen ZZZ with, like, the best bingo, or not bingo, but graffiti potential we've seen on this board yet, and allows them to, like, not really capitalize off of committing to a graffiti, which is really, really, really cool. Especially with Kevin grabbing the tape here to unlock special. Just gonna get a lot of points out of this RDH if they play it correctly.
Yeah, 5 points in a single area, I mean, obviously it's a bit good, but not winning all of them, but in exchange for that, knowing where someone is exactly and being able to capitalize on that, get points in other places, and still get most of the points, you're still getting 4 of the points in the same area, I think is a lot better. Like, losing top of station to win something in bottom point and to get special and the spray points here are just, it's a lot better in hindsight. And I feel like Claus must feel like it struck the gold mine right now.
Unfortunately, I think we're seeing a backwards effect of what I mentioned, where now Claus is like, okay, well, I haven't seen Ace, so is she spraying? Do I need to help Kevin? And now they're together while Ace is going to be the first one to get in the dark side. Not going to commit to that, like, bingo on row 3 trying to block it. Looks like she's just gonna start spraying it.
Yeah, I can totally see how, from Swarm side, Claus might be trying to go to 99th and trying to, like, spray that. So committing to one of the graffitis to at least win, because I know Claus as a player really, really likes splitting on graffitis.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that, like, Ace must know that to some extent and must be playing around that. Just because, as we've been mentioning this whole time, Claus and Ace are fantastic players at playing specific players. They have really, really good adaptation to how other people in this tournament read boards.
Yeah,
and I think that's actually really, really interesting.
Yeah, and I think currently we're seeing I've been very up and down on whether I think ZZZ is in a good or bad spot in this game, but I'm gonna say it, I think this is suddenly very good for them. They're going to finish up this graffiti, get the soul from RDH Special, and with B committing to trying to block that bingo in Darkside, suddenly both players are kind of a little buried in Darkside, and ZZZ and they just kind of have better access to the rest of the souls in Kogane and Shibuya, which will be points to win.
Yeah.
Once they find this last spray, there it is.
Benton here is not, like, the best, just because, yeah, we were talking about earlier, it's all really committal, just because of location on the map, but also stuff like top of observatory would not catch me dead doing that in a game this close.
Yeah, it's definitely a really
and that's all they have. They have 99 graffiti. They have what was it, Highway Zero tricks, and top of the short position. I'm missing something. But it looks really good in the moment, but you are so far out of position to block anything else that ZZZ might want to do. So it must be feeling really good.
And this is not the play we want to see from Generation ZZZ heading into this dark side after the RDH. Like, it seems like they might want to co-op. Yep, it looks like Kev dropping into light side, Claws heading to dark side. But this is, I mean, look at the spray counters on the sides of the screen here, and like, I think the unfortunate thing is that from ZZZ, Kevin marked special, and then Claws marked the graffiti. So, like, Swarm knows they're winning this.
Yeah, I think it's understandable to commit this hard, but it is, like, objectively not the best thing to do, especially when, as you mentioned, you can go to one area and just win 100 points. So,
yeah, especially since 7th Ace has been missing from, like, marking squares on the board. Well, B was just revealed far away from, like, any other point on the board. I think this is gonna be a rude awakening here.
yeah, I mean, obviously it's still winnable, but it is going to be a lot closer than it probably should have been 30 seconds ago.
Yeah. What I would want to see, I don't know what I would want to see. This is a mess.
I mean, I would like to see some damage get mitigated here. That's all I'm saying. I was just talking about how Claus likes to split.
And there's the 99
but
mark.
That is not happening right now. It's like the one time that it decides to not commit super hard to splitting. It's getting punished pretty bad. So now Swarm only needs 2 points, whereas 2 points. Yeah. Whereas CZZ needs 4, and their win con became a lot more inaccessible just now.
Yeah, absolutely. We have B first into STPP. Everyone else looks like they're heading out of dark side, so that's going to be only 1 square of leeway. ZZ will need to collect every other square on the board, and I'm really curious how they're going to approach this, because we have 7th Ace going straight Kogane. I think really scary, because I think if you want to be like a quirky player at this point in time, you co-op Dogen, but like, that wouldn't work right now. We have Kev going into Shibuya
I'm happy you
Terminal.
said co-op Dogen is an option, because in my mind, it is not like the best play to do or anything by far, but I think co-oping Dogen is so like funny, like the concept of it is so funny. I would just do it. I'd rip the like, hey man, you wanna go over here? But I mean, it is a little bit of a viable option, especially if you're trying to wait out and see what points they mark. I think personally, as a player, I value winning strats a lot in competitive formats like this, just because more information is always good, but it's way too long. You get punished for it, and it's really hard to balance. But I think like a little bit of waiting here by just like going to anything, getting a couple easy points would like it would just end up trading for that graffiti.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't actually.
So we have a very funny development as Claus and Ace are trying to sewer climb for grind 10. Ace accidentally enters bottom point. As they are both going for grind 10, both of them trying to win this square. Claus with a pretty big advantage, looks like trying to go for a boost climb to try and just go as fast as possible, but that ended up wasting time. Claus is... Actually, this room is a little tricky, so having this unlock could be pretty good for Claus speed-wise, but the square goes to0xSWARM. And
what was the snipe on that? What was the snipe on that? You have to.
Let me see. Let me open up the thing for you. 0.182 seconds.
Great googly moogly.
And I can't help but think if Claus just went for the climb it's really consistent at, it would have won grind 10, and then it would have just been a stall launch battle. Well, no. Sorry. They have Kibo tape already. Ace was there earlier, so that would have still been a win for 0xSWARM, most likely. But, like, it's just really unfortunate from Gen ZZZ, I'd say. It feels like they definitely had the opportunity to take this game for themselves, and it just slipped through.
Yeah, and I mean, I assume we're getting a 4-fun Game 3, but
we
sure.
are
Okay.
not, it looks like.
Really?
Because we are about 15 minutes out from Night Ninjas versus the Arsonists.
Okay, yeah, so the turnaround time on that would be a little difficult.
Yeah. So they are not going to play a Game 3, but you have another full match of Bingo coming up in 15 minutes, and we probably still have time to talk to the players before then. In fact, here is all of them.
The players.
Hi,
players.
everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Good games.
Yeah.
Jeez. I have a couple questions for y'all.
Yeah,
but,
you wrote notes. You
Yeah,
take
I mean,
Oh,
let's
is
have
that
some
my
questions
goat?
for ZCC because that's, I mean, I'm a little biased. But I mean, you guys can shoot the breeze a little bit if y'all want.
I've never heard that phrase in my life.
Yeah, that must
I was
What
gonna,
do you-
I was gonna say
I
back
am
the word,
so
and then I
much
had
more
to, like,
excited
I
to.
what said.
I am so much more excited to talk about the game that we played instead of getting breeze talked by my opponents, shall we say?
Okay.
All right. Well, Dynamite. Ask
Yeah.
the
So,
questions.
specifically on that Game 1, what was the thought process behind sending Kev Darkside? I don't think it was a bad play or anything. I was talking about how it was actually a good play, but I want to know what was going on in your head because I was like kind of speculating about it a little bit.
The thought for me was that it was really fast enough, and I think it's actually kind of good to play what like people call the dead side, or what I call the dead side of the board, where like nothing is, pretty early to like get it out of the way really fast, if it's really fast. Usually the part of the board with the least points at the end of the game is one that is so abysmally bad to open with that you leave it as your win condition. I think if it's fast enough, it's usually actually fine to play as your early game play and then play from behind, which is something I'm like really comfortable with. So
Yeah.
sending
think-
Kev there was a play to kind of hinge on that.
Yeah, and I think being able to take Shibuya Graffiti after Kev went and did that, I think it was a really good kind of manifestation of that idea. It's just kind of what happened after that point in the game that ended up causing
Yeah.
it.
The game completely turns on its head, I think, if I abandon my Shibuya route after Ace marks points 30k and I go Hikage, or I go points 100k. I think it was a little bad, but I didn't know. It was hard because we didn't really know what B was doing super well, because she was like in bottom point for kind of a long time.
Was
I thought.
floundering.
And like after
That's the
rail
worst
412 is marked, it like kind of signaled to me that they might be rotating out to Shibuya. So I was like, maybe I should not abandon this route actually, because I might get like co-op done while I'm doing something else. That's
I'm
kind
happy
of
that
why
you're
I wanted
talking
to go
about
points 100K,
Shibuya.
but-
Because that was my like next point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way y'all played, like getting Shibuya's free, I think was really smart. And then, was it intentional that you wanted to trade for bottom point, or like what was going on there? So were you just trying to
No.
snowball like momentum, or?
The bottom point call was to block the call 5 that they had, because they can, in theory, trade Shibuya Graph for Bingo in the Graph. And that's a really bad trade for that part of the game that we were in. So when bottom point got marked, it was just kind of like, okay, GG, we have lost. So the co-op was to try to prevent that in a really aggressive way, and it would have worked if I had slightly better movement and played a little greedier on the route, but I don't think I've ever really done bottom point graph co-op.
Genuinely, I mean, it was a great effort, but it was on stream we were reacting wildly because it was just like a 3-second snipe.
It's a like stupid aggressive play,
Yeah.
and it feels a little rough that it didn't like pay off, but it was slightly too slow, which is
Yeah, I mean,
rough.
it wasn't like a bad call. It was just,
Yeah.
If any number of things went differently, I mean, that would
Yeah,
have
exactly.
that would have worked for y'all. Also, for game 2, did you guys plan the co-op RDH like in advance, or was that just like a
No, well, kind of. Well, the original plan was I win top of station and then go into the RDH route, like normal. But then we had to block the call 5, I think. I think it's completely unplayable if that threat remains on the board, if I'm being honest.
I agree.
Yeah.
Which is why you went for it, huh?
Yeah, that's crazy. It's a good.
Wow, it's almost like it's a good play.
You had to make the good play.
Yeah. I think it was a little unfortunate that I committed to trick 70. I didn't want to commit to that square, but I went for the out of bounds to get out of trash pit fast, and then I just fucking fell. I did, like, trick 70 is such a useless square on this board, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm here, I might as well get some fucking value for spending an extra minute of my time in this worthless area.
Sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy.
I mean, it's delaying my exit by like 20 seconds. It's not a huge loss. But it turns out that 20 seconds sure would have been useful for fucking top up station! Anyways.
Damn, if only 20 seconds mattered in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, if only.
No.
If only. Yeah, I do want to specifically shout out that, oh my god, Ace. I know that I, like, watch you play, I know that you're, like, really good, but the way that you were, like, specifically, like, in Game 2 after, like, the mid-set adaptation from CTZ, even after all that, you were, like, locked in on what their win cons were, and, like, you were really, really good at, like, not, like, only mitigating the damage, but you were really good at, like, preventing anything from even popping up. A lot of the stuff in the, like, second half of the game, whenever ZZZ weren't super locked in on their win condition, how was I phrasing the sentence? Were you seeing that and, like, just, like, having, like, hard eyes, muddy eyes, like, we're gonna win this game, or, like, was it a bit slower to realize than that?
The key was, I mean, the key to anything is making forcing moves, and so Claws being forced essentially into BP grind 10 gave me advantage on anything else I wanted to do.
I figure you were just spraying 99th in that time, right?
Nope, I went into BP. I was 7 seconds behind you.
No.
Yeah, that was something I thought I really liked in the moment, where it felt like, hey, Claws is kind of absent, and, like, it's a pretty good position for them to want RDH Graph at this point in time. And so I thought Ace's decision to go into bottom point could have been motivated by, like, hey, they're probably co-oping it. Which is why I really liked you, after losing top of station Claws, just going for bottom point. Not only to stop the threat, but just because, like, it feels like from Ace's position, she might not expect to lose that.
Yeah.
My question about your win condition is, after the RDH gets cleaned up, why Dark Side?
Because it feels borderline unplayable with the squares they have priority to if we don't win 99th, and I thought they...
Whose question is this to? I guess both.
We went 99th, and we're about 3/4 of the way through the route when you merged. Yeah. Like, realistically, we only really had center left. It just feels completely unplayable from the position where, like, if after RDH we play for souls, and we have to get, like, I have to spend my time doing Kibo Air, and then I think 99th gets marked fast enough that I maybe lose Sewer's Grind. I don't know, it just feels a little hard. It feels a lot easier to do the opposite play, which is win 99th and then get 1. But I think, like, obviously in retrospect, should have just done the souls, like, oh, but...
yeah, and obviously, from our perspective of seeing all 4 screens, it's easier for us to say, but, hey, that's not where you should have gone.
Just mark the souls, yeah, obviously, but it's always a very, very, very difficult decision to figure out with a 1 graffiti endgame, to figure out if you should play the graffiti, or play the souls, or partial it, or 1 player. All of those are entirely viable options that form, like, this almost square of balance of, oh, if they're co-oping and we're co-oping, we lose. But if they're only one personing it and getting greedy elsewhere, see B going top of T-Rex, if she went top of Observatory, they probably win the square.
That's what threw it off, is that you went top of T-Rex, and I figured that you didn't have much of it sprayed. Or if you did have any of it sprayed, it was only one player spraying it, and the second player is out of position and can't help much from where we were. But we needed... What realistically needed to happen is I needed to assume that bottom points got sniped. I should have assumed that. And sent Kev Darkside after he finished his portion of the route and just picked it up immediately where he left off. Because I think... Let me check the chat history real fast. Yeah, Sky Dino getting marked 10 seconds before we finish RDH route is really annoying. And the fact that Kevin picked up special, meaning that Kevin is at the top of the level, but I marked RDH spray, which means I sprayed the last thing. It's like kind of unclear how clean our route was. I think you can assume that it was kind of messy, which it was.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something I was waxing was really unfortunate about that point in the game. Is like
we have another match in 4 minutes, by the way. I think.
I know, and we're almost done.
I have no more questions for Roseworth.
We have two of the biggest strategy brains in the game right now.
No one heard my funny joke.
But yeah, no, I think that's something I was waxing a lot was unfortunate, was like, this is a game of information, and you gave them a lot of information with both of you marking it, and that is really unfortunate.
That wasn't supposed to be the plan. Kevin was supposed to spray the last thing, but then he fell off the fucking top of RDH, man.
Wait, how does that happen?
We got it!
You did watch it.
We did watch it.
I didn't see that.
Good game, though. I think the sign of a good bingo game is the fact that when we go back to listen to this, my commentary is going to be full of oh, this position is good for this team. Oh, it's really bad for this team, actually. Oh, it's good again. Oh, no.
It's so over. We're so back. It's so over. We're so back.
It was just the part of the graph where it's the line was everywhere.
Yeah,
so it's hard to commentate, but it was fun.
Yeah, I think we just want to thank all of you, both teams, for giving us a really exciting 2 games. This was a really fun set.
Yeah, close to what, dude. Whatever. I was gonna say...
Nice!
The thing I was gonna say after saying we had a match in 4 minutes is twitch.tv/JSRF bingo. Don't go anywhere. You're on the damn page. But also, we should just start the bingo podcast with the 4 of us and talk about this all day. Damn.
Go podcast.
Alright, goodbye. Good games. I had fun.
Good games.
Bye, Kev. Good night. B, do you want to say anything?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Fair enough.
W.
W
Okay, bye everyone.